Do you skim, only read sections, read with audio helps, or do you simply have a unique ability? For those of us who retain what they read but read slowly, what helps do you suggest? Well, let me just say that reading is I think, most analogous to running. And I say that as a reader rather than as a runner. But I do know that those who train for marathons understand that you just run a little bit more this time than you ran last time. And you build it up over a period of years. And that's certainly the way I found it. I've been reading for a very long time, and I've been trying to read intentionally and strategically for a very long time. I think different people, by the way, have different kinds of intelligences, and that comes to reading as well. And there are persons who have a tremendous ability to retain names or numbers. There are people who can do complex math equations in their head and walk around with just reams and reams of statistics in their minds. I think of people who say, I'm not a very good reader, but the next thing you know, they can give you baseball statistics from 1969 flawlessly. One of the things I do is to read with the book as a tool, not as an object of art. Now, we all have a few books that are objects of art. We protect those, but other books need to be used as tools. And what I mean by that is I write in the books. I take most of my notes about a book in that very book. I keep an ongoing dialogue. I find that to be extremely helpful with a book. And so I've got at least a pen and for most books, even a highlighter nearby. And I've developed my own system of diacritical marks I make in the book. If I really agree, I've got one kind of mark. If I really disagree with a statement, and where it makes me think, or I think about something else I need to read related to this, I'll go ahead and write it right in the book. And that becomes very valuable to me. And that increases the value of reading that book because I can go back to that single book many years, even decades later, pull it out, and pretty much re-enter the conversation where I left that book. Just in terms of the speed of reading, you know, that's something that I think really is different for different people. And for the same reader, it's different for different books. I tend to read fiction quite slowly compared to some other reading because I'm reading it for a different reason. I tend to read some things really, really fast. You ask if I skim. That's a fair question. And the answer to that is no if it's a major work. Yes, I'll be honest, I think skimming is the right way to read some books that don't require that kind of sustained attention. Let me give you an example. There are a lot of books out there that, to be honest, especially in popular literature, and I have to pay attention to a lot of those because of the briefing and other issues of cultural analysis. I think a lot of those books are really great magazine articles that someone blew up into a book, which is to say they repeat a lot of it really is fluff, some of it's not relevant or interesting. The other thing to do is on books like that, you may buy a book, especially of essays or chapters on different subjects, where you're buying it for just a few chapters, not for the entire book. So just be honest about that. My motto is read a book for what it's worth. And for most books, that means I'm reading them cover to cover and every single word. I don't use any kind of system where I speed read with just certain words. I don't put my finger on the page. I'm not saying those are wrong. I'm just saying that's not the way I do it. I just read, and over a period of time, I guess read faster and faster. And the Lord's given me the ability to retain a lot of that, for which I'm very thankful. I could wish, and I'm envious of others who have the same ability with names or with numbers. It's a different kind of memory ability, I think. And as Peter Drucker once said about another arena of a leader's life, you have to play into your strengths and do your very best to compensate for your weaknesses. That's a lifelong challenge for all of us. Greg, I thank you for the question. Coming from